Hey everybody, Matt Barton here with this week's Broker Minute or Two. Before I get into that, let me just future pace you on something that's coming. There's still so much, frankly, I think sometimes unnecessary noise about the settlement, and there sure seems to be a lot of experts out there who think that this is just going to completely overhaul the industry. I mean, the other day I was listening to a KSL podcast and some of the terms that were being used, this is revolutionizing the industry, and it's wow. Talk about misinformed. And listen, I'm not ducking my head in the sand. Of course, this has some impact on us, but I would just tell you with pretty strong confidence level, it's not changing as much as people think it is changing. So with that in mind, we are going to essentially create for lack of a better term, a little bit of a six-part syllabus that we're going to cover in pretty rapid fashion over the next week or two. And basically the components are going to be, what really is in the settlement? What does it really mean? And what does it mean to us come July? That's a key point. Everybody thinks it changed everything now. The government still has to buy off on this and agree to the settlement. And if it does buy off on it, it doesn't take effect till July. So there's that. Then tweaks to buyer's agency and things like covering fees and what's the appropriate way to do it. Another segment would be, what does it mean for listings? What happens if your seller asks about it and wants to offer, no cooperative compensation? How should we handle that? Another segment would be important dialogues to prepare for, right? So often in our industry, listen, we're supposed to be persuasive master communicators. And my experience is when it comes to critical issues like this, we're not as expert as we should be. So we will cover not only, what could be said, but more importantly, what should be said and how it should be said. Another segment is going to be opportunities and the value adds we bring as agents. And close on the heels of that, this is almost like a situation that was created for AIG and our ecosystem to bring additional value add to the equation. So look forward to that. Some of this will be covered in sales meetings. Others will be covered by way of Zoom. But just know all of those things will be out and recorded in short order to help you as this change, this huge, significant change rolls out. All right. Having said that, what I wanted to cover today on today's Broker Minute or Two deals with quite often we have situations where somebody will sign up a buyer, or it could be on the seller side as well. And it's a situation where there is a lot and eventually a build to be built as well. And the reason I bring this up is most agents are not aware, they're kind of aware of the language, but they forget it. But let me just pull this up on screen. In our buyer broker agreement, this section that I have in the red box, the term of agreement, right? It talks about the starting effective date, right? We can see it here as defined in section 15, ending at such and such a time. And then there's the keyword or, right? Or the closing of the acquisition of a property, which means closing. So pulling this back, when either one of those two conditions are met, either the hard date or gaining interest in a property, agency is terminated. So if you're working with a client who you're going to help them not only buy a lot, but also help them with a build, and there's an agreement, with a builder, you want to make sure that your agency extends through that build period, right? Especially in light of the new changes that you must have agency when you're working in someone's agency, which is, by the way, always been the law in the state of Utah. But more importantly, to make sure that you have E&O coverage, right? I've mentioned this before. E&O companies, frankly, they're insurance companies. They will find any avenue they can to not pay out on a claim. And one of those is if the person isn't our client, then that is a potential out for not paying on a claim. So you'll want to make sure that your agency extends. In SkySlope, there is a section when you're in the SkySlope forms called clauses. And there's individual clauses and there are broker clauses. I'm currently working on the broker clauses for situations like this. If you sign a buyer broker and it's in that lot and build configuration, we will have verbiage that simply says, we're going to modify the language here in section 1 that will extend not only into the acquisition of a property, but until a property and build is complete. Something like that. Okay. On the sell side, so we may be representing somebody, a builder, a small builder who has lots and then wants to do a build job as well and wants you to potentially bring a buyer and represent them through the build process or interact with at least a buyer's agent. The good news is on this term of listing for the listing side of things is it says, hey, listen, if we go under contract and the date were to run out that was specified up here, this contract automatically extends until that property that went under contract during the listing is closed, but it still doesn't cover a build. So we will have similar language to that in a standard clause for exclusive right to sell, and I'd look for that within the next week, again in SkySlope forms. Last thing is I would open this up. If you have things that you would like to see by way of a standard and supplementary clause in SkySlope that you use on a regular basis that really isn't covered by a UAR form, let me know and I'll see if we can incorporate that. But coming full circle, just remember, if you're doing a lot build, the default EBB and the ERS do not cover both the lot and build side of things by way of agency, and we want to make sure that you do have that in place. So hopefully that helps, and I hope you look forward to the information we're going to put out in regards to the settlement. Otherwise, I hope you're enjoying the the first week in April and the warm weather that's coming, and I'm ready for it. Hope you are too.